Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts, opinions, review, if you like prefer that word, on the 2004 film Kung Fu Hustle. Now, as I just said, was released in 2004, was actually released in 2005 here in the UK, was written, produced, directed and starring Stephen Chow, so a lot like Clint Eastwood films, where Clint Eastwood does nearly everything on the film, or Alfred Hitchcock, many of those kind of people. Stephen Chow did a lot when it comes to this film. And just to give you sort of the consensus of what other people may have thought about the film, IMDb have a score of 7.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has a 90% score out of 100, and TV Guide has a 78% out of 100. So that's sort of what other people think, but of course I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on this movie. Before we go any further, please do me a favour, hit a like or a dislike depending on your feelings. If you're feeling a bit more advantageous than that, then please hit the subscribe button. It really does help, and I really do thank you for that. If you are interested what's going on for the next 2 weeks, then there is a video which I called A Scope into Martial Arts Movies, and then that will give you an understanding of what's going on for the next 2.5 weeks and beyond. So we're now going to get into my thoughts and opinions of Kung Fu Hustle. So the first thing I want to say before I say anything more about the film is the entire length of the film, I just had a smile on my face. Just a goofy, just smile on my face. The film is very dark and serious at times, but most of the film is very light-hearted. It's comedic, it's cartoonish, very cartoonish. There are very cartoonish effects that go on, very much like The Mask or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or films of that nature. Or Nutty Professor is another film that sort of comes to mind in sort of the cartoonish nature of the film. So basically when the film opens up, we're introduced to the Axe Gang, and it seems that basically the Axe Gang have been going around and bullying various people and whatnot. We also find out that in this particular area, there's a lot of poverty around, basically, and people are finding, ends hard to meet and all that kind of stuff. And the Axe Gang come up against these, I'm not really sure who they are, some people. You get to know these people, you find out they bust up a police station, and long story short, the Axe Gang come up and just kill them. You then roll forward a little bit, and you're then introduced to a place called Pigsty Alley. Now, Pigsty Alley is a community of people. You've got like a butcher there, you've got a laundrette, you've got a tailor who makes suits, all different people there. And long story short, there's these two people who impersonate the Axe Gang. They go into this Pigsty Alley, again impersonating the Axe Gang, and basically they get literally kicked out. One of them throws a firecracker to signal for the rest of the Axe Gang, which actually hits one of the Axe Gang members on the head or his hat, and then that Axe Gang member says, who threw the firecracker, and this person who's impersonating a member of the Axe Gang sort of points over and says that one of them did it, and then this whole army of Axe Gang basically come in. It's such a big army that literally the ground is shaking. It's like an earthquake is sort of happening. And they sort of, they've got everybody under their feet, or they've got axes positioned over necks and stuff like that, and they're like, who threw the firecracker? And this person who we've seldom seen up until that point says, I'm the one that threw it. And the leader in that particular moment of the Axe Gang, the one that's in charge, sends the army after this person, and he just easily dispatches a lot of the people until he's ganged up upon. Once he gets ganged up upon, the tailor that I spoke about earlier, he then comes into the fray. He puts a load of rings on his arms, shower curtain rings or curtain holder rings, and just starts, he himself gets through a load of people, and then another person who you've literally seen here and there ends up grabbing a spear, and then he ends up getting rid of all the Axe Gang. That's kind of how the movie is set up. The fight scenes are over the top, they are goofy, they are cartoonish, they are incredible, to be completely honest with you. All of this movie it's anime, it's cartoony, it's bombastic, there's so many words that I can use to describe this film, and I probably wouldn't get through all of them that I wanted to say. This movie is incredible. Okay, so when it comes to the production values and the cinematography, it is spot on. This film is probably the best example of visual comedy I have ever seen in a film. It is almost perfection when it comes to the visual comedy of various things. There's a lot of show don't tell with this film, and it does it expertly. The acting is done really well. The choreography, everything is done so well. And although, yes, you can clearly see a lot of the stunts are done on wires, it's still hard to see how they do some of the transitions between scenes. Some of the transitions between scenes are just artistic. It's such a well put together film. It's a load of fun. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's violent, a bit gory in places, but it's just such a fun ride. Something happens to the initial three, martial artists, or heroes as they're called, masters, I think they're called at one point. Something happens to them, and then two more people reveal themselves to be masters. And it seems that within this world, within this universe, revealing yourself to be a master, a martial arts master, is a bad thing to do. It kind of outs you, and then everyone else wants to go after you and beat you. And basically later on in the film, they release from prison the #1 rated killer, who's known as the Beast. And then basically later on, somebody who you've been following throughout the film. There's two people called Sing, and I've forgotten that Sing's comrade, so to speak, his partner, if you will, his sidekick, if you will. They are a couple of goofballs for a lot of the film. They're just the comic relief characters. They're trying to get into the Axe Gang. They're not managing it. They're told to murder somebody to get into the Axe Gang. They just can't. They can't pull it off. But it's just such a fun, self-aware, comedic film that's also has a very serious undertone from it about poverty and people being under the boot of gangs and other people, and there's bullying inside there as well, and people sort of raising up from the bullying. I am aware that I think there's a couple of sequels, Kung Fu Hustle 2 and 3, and this film does very much give some sequel bait at the end, but I just had a goofy smile on my face the whole entire time. That it's like watching a live action cartoon at times, and it's so well done. Very much like The Mask. I can very much see parallels to The Mask. The fight choreography, it all comes together in such a enjoyable, well put together, goofy film that does it to an expert degree. Sometimes when you think of goofy films, you think that there's something's gonna, it leaves a lot to be desired sometimes in a lot of these occasions, but when it comes to Kung Fu Hustle, absolutely not. I just was laughing out loud. There's so many visual gags, so many bombastic, over-the-top moments. The film never ceases to amaze and entertain, and it's amazing. It really was a good film. I've actually seen parts of Kung Fu Hustle over the years. I didn't realise how much the film I've actually seen over the years. In the back of my head, I want to say I've seen Kung Fu Hustle before, because some of the scenes and how they transition and stuff almost seems too familiar to me, but if I have, it was years ago, and I don't remember much of the film. So I'm glad I rewatched it if I did watch it before. But that film was just a chef's kiss in so many different ways, and I really want to check out the next two films in the series, but I'm worried they're not going to live up to the caliber that the first film is. And I just think it's such a enjoyable, well done film in so many ways. You could say, if I'm going to pick holes at it, that the comedic nature of the film kind of sullies the more serious tone of the film, tones and undertones of the film, but the film's just damn enjoyable in more ways than one, and it will be a film that I'm probably going to watch again and again. So that has been my thoughts and opinions and review on the 2004 Kung Fu Hustle. If you have your own opinions on the film, please put them down below. Try and keep it spoiler free. I've tried to keep my review, my opinions, as spoiler free as possible. And as just after watching Kung Fu Hustle, there are some other films I've already added to my Netflix playlist, because I did watch this on Netflix because I'm there in the UK. I have added some additional stuff to my watch list, which includes the return of Shenzhen, played by Donnie Yen, which was originally a role played by Bruce Lee back in the day, called, I've completely forgotten what the name of the film is. It's the return of whatever. I've completely forgotten. But yeah, it was originally a Bruce Lee film done in 1971, and Donnie Yen has done a sequel. The Bruce Lee version is actually on Amazon Prime Video, so I'll probably watch that first and then watch the Donnie Yen sort of redo, so to speak. And I found out there's a Sleeping Dogs film that's coming out next year, I think it is, where Donnie Yen plays Wei Shen. I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, that's some additional anecdotes at the end for anybody who's stayed on this long. Until next time, guys, please take care, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.